With my husband, love making is like a duty when he wants it. When I try to initiate it, he tells me that he's not in the mood. One day, I told him that it was selfish for not taking my feelings into consideration. Hello, it's another week and you're welcome to Life Stories with Bussy. If you are a regular, you're welcome. If you're stumbling on this program for the first time, you're welcome. This is Life Stories with Bussy. On Life Stories with Bussy, people tell their stories, and they tell their stories for two reasons. Some tell their stories because they don't know what else to do and they are seeking for help and they are seeking for counsel. Some tell their stories just so that you can learn from their experiences. Whichever way the story goes, we encourage you every step of the way. If you feel that you need to see a therapist, we recommend one. If you think that what you need is legal representation, we will guide you in the way to go and all that. So in a nutshell, Bussy is that extra shoulder that you need to lean on. Okay? I would also encourage you to subscribe and share our link with your family and loved ones. With all that said, let's go into today's story. Okay? Come along with me. So this was written in by a lady and she goes, my husband says that he's tired of me and he wants a divorce. Bussy, I want to run mad. Where do I go? Where do I start from? We've been married for 19 years. We married early because I got pregnant at 18 years old and he was 19 years old at that time. I was naive. I didn't know I was pregnant, and by the time I understood I was pregnant, there was nothing I could do. It would have been dangerous to my health if I had gone ahead to get rid of it. My father was influenced by my stepmother to get me married because, in her words, they couldn't be taking care of me and my child. That since I was old enough to engage in such activities, I should be able to handle the consequences. I don't know my mother. I never knew her. My father said that she's dead, but I've heard stories from his family members who say that my mother is alive. From what I heard, she's from the Republic of Benin and she dumped me and ran away. We did introduction and I moved into his parents' house. From when I moved in, he wasn't really happy. He said that marriage at that age wasn't his plan, but I begged him to pity me. His friends were nice to me, though I knew they were disappointed in both of us. He continued schooling, but I didn't because I had a baby, and while still taking care of that baby, I got pregnant again. We agreed that we should just finish having the babies before I continued my education. I applied to be an apprentice with a popular fashion designer in our area. I was good, and within 3 years, I was able to establish myself with the help of my husband. I'm very good at my craft. I have a lot of customers, and I've made good money. The relationship with my husband wasn't all that great, but we patched it. Every time I told him that he wasn't showing me love, he would ask certain questions. Do I take care of you and the children? The response is always yes from me, because yes, he does take care of us. They would respond and say, that's love, and he doesn't know how else to demonstrate it. He believes that once he shoulders our responsibility, then that is love. That responsibility talk was okay for me at the time, but I needed more. Someone to talk to, tell my fears to. Someone who would encourage me daily. Someone who would call to check on me regularly. With my husband, love making is like a duty when he wants it. When I try to initiate it, he tells me that he's not in the mood. One day, I told him that it was selfish for not taking my feelings into consideration. He told me that it was him being considerate that got him married to me. That because of me, he didn't enjoy his youth. He said I should look around, that how many of our classmates or age mates married that early. He said if I was smart enough to have known what to do then, we probably would be doing better than we are doing now. Those things that he said hurt me. He doesn't beat me. He has never beaten me before. He doesn't talk to me anyhow, except when we have occasional arguments like the one I just described above. So I won't say he verbally abuses me. I'm not financially abused either. Anything I ask for, I get. When I complain sometimes to my mother-in-law, she will say it's because I'm young and we young people are always looking for what's not missing, that there's nothing more to add to what he's doing, that marriage is all about responsibility, and that our son has proved that he is responsible. I decided to better myself. I went to Yaba Tech, did my OND and HND because he already had BSc and Masters. He paid for it. He has a great job and we could afford to move from his parents' house, but he refused to. It's not like his parents were in any way a problem, but I just felt that maybe if we had our privacy, maybe we could connect better. Okay, sometimes last year, he called me and thanked me for being a great mother. Emphasis on great mother and not wife. He said he doesn't think that he's enjoyed being married to me, that I was right. Responsibility isn't necessarily love, and he realized that he is not in love with me. He was just being responsible because that was what was expected of him at that time. He said he was ready to get a place for me and the children to stay. He said he doesn't know his next move, but he just wants to set me free. Set me free. Set me free at 37 years old with 4 children. My world came crashing down. I told him that I didn't want to be set free. How can you set me free at 37 years old? It's like using me and dumping me. He said we both used ourselves and that I have the opportunity to think about my life and do everything I want to do before I turn 40. Sister Bussy, isn't this the devil in action? I have prayed. I have fasted. My friends have introduced me to many pastors. One prophet said that there's a strange woman somewhere controlling him. He got irritated when he discovered that I was going to see prophets. He said that since I've started using holy water, soap, and all the things I was instructed to use by the prophet, it is a skill to live earlier than he thought. I begged him and told him that I will stop. That is all because of him. He said that that won't stop him from living. Since I knew him, I've never known him to cheat. My friends say that he's cheating and he wants to get involved or marry another woman. That's why he's telling me that he wants to leave. I told him that if it's because of another woman, he should marry another person that I don't mind. He should just stay married to me. He can shuttle. The day I said so, he shouted at me that I should get a grip on myself, that I must think that it's only because of another woman that men get tired of their wives. He said there's no woman anywhere, at least not yet. But all he knows is that he doesn't want to be with me any longer. I have looked into the mirror. I'm not bad looking. I have 4 children and I'm still slim with a flat tummy. I dress well. I'm a fashion designer. I don't smell. I'm very submissive. I don't nag him. What is it that I am not doing? What else does a man want? How do I get him to reconsider? Change his mind without dabbling into things I don't have any business with. One of my cousins is telling me that it's more than meets the eyes, that I should go the native way. I've gone to meet his family. His mother said that he's a grown man and they pleaded with him, but they can't force him. My husband has even traveled since the beginning of the year. He calls once in a while, and when I start to lament, he would warn me that if I don't stop, he will be calling only the children on their phones. He's still sending money, talking to the children, but just says that he's fed up with the marriage. So she concludes by saying that she's going into depression, her world is crashing, she's lost so much weight, and she's crying herself to sleep. She says that it looks like her enemies have triumphed over her. She said that she's been to therapy, but they are not telling her how to get her husband back. Wow. This is a sad, sad story, and I really feel her pain because the end of a long-term relationship can feel like an insurmountable loss because you're not just mourning the relationship, but also the future that you imagine together and the identity that you have built as a couple. It's really like a deep-rooted pain because it goes really deep inside, kind of tears you apart because you've been with this person for a long time and all of a sudden the person wants to rip you apart, wants to go away from you. So it's like as if the person is ripping you apart. Your husband expressing a desire to end a marriage of 19 years, especially under the circumstances that you have described, is a significant emotional shock. And it's normal for you to experience a wide range of emotions like loss, anger, sadness, confusion, just think about it. Your desire to fix the situation or change his mind is a natural response to the fear of losing a long-term relationship and the life that you have known. So feeling overwhelmed, lost, and depressed under the circumstances is completely natural. You're not alone in feeling this way, and it's okay to grieve the loss of your marriage. However, it's important for you to recognize that you cannot control another person's decisions or their feelings. It's a difficult truth that we have to accept, that the people we love will make decisions, and their decisions can either be positive or negative. It can impact us positively or negatively, and what is important is not their decision, because we can't control it. What is important is how we react to those decisions that they have made, so that they don't affect us. You said a lot about your husband, and it seemed to me like a good man. I mean, you said so many glowing things about your husband, and for me, I think that he was never really into that relationship. Um, he acted his role in a drama that was scripted by the situation that you found yourselves in at that time. And for him, he's played his role and he's tired of playing that role. And he doesn't want to be part of a soap opera any longer. So he's probably looking into his 40s and he's thinking to himself, do I want to continue like this? What am I going to advise you to do? You talked about therapy, and I think that you still need to go back for that therapy. I know that when you went in for therapy, you were looking for 14 ways in which you could get your husband back, and you're probably thinking that Bussy will give you 10 ways in which you can get your man back, but really, therapy is beyond that. Truth is, there are two possible outcomes here. Your husband could come back, and he might not come back. And if he comes back, fantastic. But if he doesn't come back, you need to get help. And that's what therapy will do for you. It would help you understand your feelings, and it would also help you cope with this new reality should your husband not come back. And it helps you to plan for you and your children's future. The therapist can help you explore your identity outside of being a wife and a mother. They can also assist you in processing your grief, and they will support you in building a life that is fulfilling and meaningful, on your own terms. I think that therapy would also help you to identify your childhood trauma and help you channel it to the right path. And when I say so, I'm looking at, the point where you said that your mother abandoned you, and it's looking like your husband is abandoning you now. And the two of them seem like interrelated. That is why you're so devastated. That's why you're so broken. It's like you were abandoned by a mother who's supposed to have loved you, and now you are being abandoned by your husband who is supposed to love you. And I think that the two incidents are working together, and that's why you're really like in this state. So I think that one of the things that therapy would help you to do is to identify this childhood trauma and then help you to channel it in a proper way. I also want to tell you that your worth and value as a person cannot be defined by your husband's actions or decisions. What's also very important at this time is that I need you to also take focus away from yourself. You are focused on yourself, and you're forgetting that you have children who are also going through a difficult time. I don't know whether you told them or whether you guys have told them that you guys are going your separate ways. But if you have told them or you are about to tell them, these children need help. They need you to be in the right frame of mind to also provide the emotional support that they would need to go through these trying times, because their well-being and stability is also paramount at this time. So I need you to refocus and focus on your children and help them through this period. So they need you to be alert. They need you to be mentally stable. They need you to be strong. You don't want to lose your husband and also lose your children. And when I say lose your children, not like lose them to death, but about losing them emotionally. Because if you are disconnected from your husband already and you are into yourself and you're focused on all the things that you're going through, you'll be disconnected from your children, and you don't want to be disconnected from your husband and be disconnected from your children. My appeal to you is to focus on supporting them. Now, there's a popular saying that says that when you are crying, you should please open your eyes. Because if you close your eyes when you are crying, a lot of things will pass and you will not see it. And what am I saying? You need to begin to drop a legal framework and begin to talk about financial support, how these children are going to go to school, because your children should be like 19, 18 and below. So we should be talking about proper legal framework, documentation in black and white that will state how school fees would be paid, that will state maintenance and things like that. You might think to yourself, no, I'm still praying and believing God. I do not have a problem. Reconciliation can happen, but I need you to put all that in a framework. Should reconciliation not happen and your husband decides that he wants to get married to somebody else or something, you might begin to have issues, with all these things. So even custody, because you might have an issue where your husband will say things like, oh, I want the children to come over to meet me abroad. I'm just saying, you can never say so. Just let there be a documentation, a legal framework where you spell everything out and everybody sees it in black and white and everybody signs to it. Yeah, you might not need it, you might need it, but just make sure that that happens. I also want to speak to the fact that you said that you're seeking external solution, and in the past you have visited pastors and prophets who have given you things to use, and now your cousin is telling you to go the native way and all that. The problem with seeking such external solution is that it can often lead to further disappointment and distract you from the essential work of healing and moving forward. Yeah, if you want to pray, pray. I believe in the efficacy of prayer. Bible says that the heart of king is in the hands of God, and like the river, it turns it wherever it pleases, meaning that God can change the heart of your husband and it can come back. But do not turn into fetish things in the name of prayers. I don't believe in all this candles, use something so, I generally believe that you can just speak to God without all these things, because Bible says that you come boldly, you understand, to the throne of grace, for help in time of need. For me, I don't believe that you need all these things. If you need to pray, pray by all means. All this external solution, going the native way, looking for one baba, I don't think that's what you need right now. If you want to pray, just pray, and God answers prayer without you using all these things. I do not believe in those things, so I don't, because for me, I just think that it leads to more trouble, so I would not encourage you to do that. That said, I think that you should also build a support network. Lean on reliable friends. Lean on reliable friends, not those kind of ones that will tell you to go native. Lean on reliable friends, family, generally look for a community in which you can be, volunteer yourself. Don't isolate yourself, because isolation can fall depression. So yeah, you might find it very difficult to mix with people. It might feel hard, reaching out, but don't isolate yourself. Just make sure that you are out there. Period. This is also a time for you to discover who you are outside of marriage. Continue to pursue your career, hobbies, your interests. Begin to look at things that you would like to do, new things, new activities that you have not tried before, and something that you would like to do. Continue to look at doing that. To wrap this up, we're praying for your husband to come back, but in case he doesn't, I need you to have a positive outlook to life. And I need you to know that rebuilding your life and finding happiness again will not happen overnight. You know, it's a process that takes time, patience, and self compassion. While this is a difficult chapter, note that it's also an avenue for growth and new beginning. Wish you all the best. I know that in some years' time, when you look back to this, you would actually thank God for bringing you through. Well, over to you guys. Let's meet in the comment section. Until next time when I come your way again, my name remains Bussy David.